Today I am bringing you 5 ways to stay positive after an autism diagnosis, so please stick around. Hi friends, my name is Claire and this is my channel, Woodshed Theory. Here I make content about what it is like to live as an adult on the autism spectrum and whatever else feels good to me. So if that sounds good to you, or if you're feeling particularly gracious today, and I hope that you are, please go ahead and click the subscribe button, ring the bell. I almost forgot to mention that I put out videos 3 times a week. Click the like, click the like. Thank you so much for all of the support you've been giving me recently. I really appreciate it. How to stay positive after an autism diagnosis, early diagnosis, late diagnosis, any autism diagnosis. Let's just face it, it's a lot to handle. I did get this topic as a video request, so if you have topics that you'd like me to talk about, go ahead and leave them down in the comments or feel free to email me at woodshedtheory@gmail.com. When you're diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, a lot of different feelings go through your system. I know for me, I felt a sense of relief. Finally, everything made sense. Autism and its symptoms, it fit me so well that it was an answer to a question that I didn't know what the question was growing up, but I knew I had a question, and having that answer helped me immensely. So I had that sense of relief. Also a sense of happiness, excitement coming from that sense of relief. Okay, now that I know, what next? Could things be better? Could things be different? But then came a different feeling, and that was a sense of emptiness. And that came along with that nagging depression that comes from having undiagnosed autism, and also the isolation that many people on the spectrum deal with and go through. I hope that these 5 ways that I remain positive can be helpful to you. And if you have any ideas, make sure that you write them down in the comments. The first way that I remain positive is to remember to give myself grace. I've always felt that I am a very empathetic person and that I give other people grace. But I wasn't giving myself the grace that I afforded to other people, and that's not being fair to myself. I had to realize that coming to terms with my autism diagnosis and just swimming through 31 years of information, that takes time, and I need to be patient with myself. It's been 2.5 years since my diagnosis, and I'm not done processing. I might not ever be done processing. I can't think too hard about some of the things that happened in my life without getting emotional. It is not fun finding out later in life. Not that it's, a walk in the park to find out earlier in life, but it's traumatic. It's traumatic to find out later in life. I've had to accept that some days are good and other days are just crappy. But the more time that has gone by, the more comfortable I feel in my diagnosis and in myself and in accepting my undiagnosed past. The second way that I remain positive is I try to remember that I still have a lot of my life left to live. I mentioned this on my video with Taylor from Mom on the Spectrum, where we talked about friendship and autism. I probably have at least, hopefully, at least 30 years left of my life, half plus left of my life. And I feel like I'm stuck here until that's over. So I could either have a life that's negative because of my diagnosis, or I could take this diagnosis as a beautiful, wonderful opportunity to start fresh. And that's what I've tried to do. Because I have the information I have now about my diagnosis, I am able to make decisions, educated decisions, informed decisions about my life, about how I want it to look like, how I want to move forward. It's not always easy, but I feel like I can choose to be positive. I have a lot of time left on this earth. I'm choosing that it's going to be better for me, that the autism diagnosis isn't going to be a bad thing for me. You always hear people when they find out someone's on the spectrum, they say like, oh, I'm so sorry, or oh, wow, okay, how you doing? Okay, it's fine to check in with people, yes, but it's not a death sentence. I'm not a pity case for people. I live a full life. I do my best. And isn't that what we're all trying to do? The third way that I stay positive after my autism diagnosis is taking time to learn about the autistic community and to talk to people in the autistic community and foster new friendships with people. If you grew up not knowing that you were on the spectrum, and now you know, you may look over your life and think about the people that you may have bumped into that were on the spectrum. And you might think to yourself, well, they don't present their autism the way that I do, so I would have never thought that I was on the spectrum. But now I know differently. So it has been so important for me to learn about the deep and wonderful history that's reflected in the autistic community. And the more that you dig and learn about historical autistic figures and their contributions to society, the better and more positive you can feel about yourself. Do these people always have the easiest lives? No. Okay, no, they don't. But doctors, scientists, mathematicians, artists, any profession that you could think of, autistic people have been there and have been contributing and pushing fields forward. And we can be very proud and very positive because of that. I can feel positive about my future because I'm not in this box of what some guy at the grocery store thinks autism is. I know what autistic people are capable of, and I know that a lot of times it's more than neurotypical people in a lot of different ways, and I'm positive about that. I'm happy about that. I'm excited about that. As far as meeting people on the autism spectrum and fostering new friendships, it is great to meet people who understand what you're going through. And maybe you're newly diagnosed and you've never really spoken to other autistic people or met other autistic people. Hi, nice to meet you. It is wonderful to be able to relate to someone on a very deep level. Every autistic person is different, but we have a lot of things in common and we're pretty understanding of one another. So try to find ways to meet other autistic people, talk to other autistic people, and you're already doing that if you're watching this video. So it's helped me. It's helped me immensely. Meeting the YouTube autistic community, meeting new friends here has done nothing but made my life better. The fourth way that I stay positive after my autism diagnosis is mindfulness, taking time to reflect on everything that I've accomplished both pre and post diagnosis. Was my life before I was diagnosed difficult? Yeah, absolutely. Everything was harder. But I also got a bachelor's degree, I got 2 master's degrees, I lived abroad, I went to the #1 rated university on the globe, I had a job where I made a good living. I got to do a lot of things that autistic people aren't supposed to be able to do. I got married, we live on our own, drive, so many things that autistic people aren't supposed to be able to do. Was it a hard time for me? Yes. Was I really struggling? Yes. But I still got them accomplished, and I should be really proud of that. Looking back and seeing everything that I've been able to do, I am positive about that. That makes me feel positive. Post-diagnosis, I feel super positive about the direction that my life is going. Is it a complete 180 to what I thought would happen? Yes, absolutely. But I feel grateful and aware and in control of my life for the first time. I'm making decisions that make me feel positive. I am looking out for my own mental health. I'm taking better care of my own mental health. I'm figuring out ways to make a living that don't exacerbate the problems that I have from my autism. So many wonderful things that I'm accomplishing, and that makes me feel really positive. So being able to reflect on those accomplishments really helps me. The fifth and final thing that I do to remain positive after my autism diagnosis is I allow myself to be empowered by the knowledge that I have. This really started with my initial OCD diagnosis and going through the therapy for that and really doing the hard work to make progress there. And I'd say today I'm 90% better than I used to be. After my autism diagnosis, I can honestly say for the first time in my life that I feel more in control of myself. When you're on the spectrum, and especially when you don't know, it is very difficult to control your own emotions and your own reactions. If you're watching this and you're on the spectrum, I know you know what I'm talking about. It's hard to control them when you are aware of them, but it's so much easier than it used to be, knowing what my triggers are for meltdowns, understanding the feelings I'm having, knowing how to take better care of myself. I feel in control, and that feels amazing. I'm very positive about that. Is my situation going to change? Am I going to wake up one day and not be autistic? No. Am I going to recover from autism? No. If you're seeing things like that out in articles and stuff, it's wrong, okay? It doesn't go away, but I have information now that I can use, and I can choose how I react to things much more effectively than when I wasn't diagnosed and I had no idea that I had a problem. I just knew that I was overly emotional, that I didn't have good friendships, that I ... all of it. Now I am in control of all of those things. I'm able to focus my energy and communicate with people better because I have knowledge of my diagnosis and knowledge of things that help me to live a calmer and more organized, more communicative life with autism. And that is beautiful. That's exciting. I'm glad that I talked about this today. I really needed this talk for myself. So thank you for recommending it. Guys, those were the 5 things I put down on my list. I know there are so many more reasons to be positive about being on the autism spectrum. These are just 5. If you have other ideas, please go ahead and list them down in the comments. I would love to hear from you. every time I read the comments, everyone's encouraging each other, sharing experiences. It's so beautiful. I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye.